This is the thing, is you don't try and skip... You've got hair on you. Got a bunch of hair. Are these your hairs?
I might be molting. you're going grey.
I will look great when I'm grey. I don't remember a time before my father had grey hair, other than his bleach blonde era, which we as a family don't discuss. Do you want to be revealed when Aaron sits there? Sometimes I reveal him.
Like how?
I could edit something in front of your face, and then I'll do it in post. Yeah. I'll do it with editing. It'll be really sophisticated and technological. Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my theatre-themed YouTube channel. My name is Mickey Jo, I am obsessed with all things theatre, and that is why I have been enjoying watching Mamma Mia, I Have a Dream on ITV, the brand new musical theatre TV casting series where they are searching for the next Sophie and Sky in the Mamma Mia... Damn it! Oh, I was doing so well. I've gotten really good at saying that over the past 3 weeks.
I was impressed.
Mamma Mia, West End, they're looking for a new Sophie and Sky. Novello Theatre, 25th anniversary, Judy Kramer's involved, it's all going on and it's happening on TV. And today I'm going to be recapping and reviewing and trying to remember episode 4 of this series. Apologies that for the first time there was no recap on Monday. Life happened this week, several days in a row. But here we are. Prior to episode 5 coming out, we are sitting down and I am joined by my favourite theatre fan. It's Sean Tussell.
It's Tussell.
That's what I said.
You said Tussell?
I didn't say Tussell. I said Tussell. Oh. Sean Tussell.
Right about, guys.
So you can be found on social media at which handles?
Well, this is the thing. You have to find me on my name on Twitter.
Of my life. Yeah.
And Theatre Fan Official on most other stuff.
And what the people that may know you on social media, or the people that don't, what is it that you do on social media in the world of the theatre?
I post a lot of stagey news, lots of stagey thoughts, and I might post a rumour or two occasionally.
Rumour. AKA all of the exciting gossip about what is coming predominantly to the West End. If I'm talking about it in a video and I'm like, I have rumours, it's probably because I've heard it from Sean. Is how that happens. So go and follow Theatre Fan Official. Sean,
you can find me.
You've got to work to find him, but it's worth
it
when you
get
there.
Fan and I'll pop up.
For all of the exciting West End news and rumours. Now, you have been watching Mamma Mia, I Have a Dream since the beginning. We were both at the episode 1 preview screening together.
Which was very exciting.
Yes. And we've been doing, FaceTime... breakdowns after each episode,
having a little
on a Sunday night. So I thought it was time to bring that energy to YouTube. And also, this was chemistry week.
It was. And do they have chemistry?
Do they have chemistry? Do we have chemistry?
I think we do.
All of these... we'll find out. All of these questions will be answered today. I have notes on my phone that...
Which is good.
Hopefully, I'm going to remember. We'll see. It'll either come flooding back to us, or I guess they weren't memorable enough. Maybe this is the real test.
I just have a really shocking memory.
We opened with another group number. Do you remember which ABBA song it was?
I don't know. Is it Take a Chance on Me?
It was Take a Chance on Me. There you go. This is going well. So they were doing Take a Chance on Me, which was cute because they all got a little individual solo line moment. I have spoken out previously about the allocation of some of those solo lines, but I thought this was a good one.
It was pretty even.
This was probably, if they hadn't gone with I Have a Dream, this probably would have been a good title for the show. It was either going to be I Have a Dream, Take a Chance on Me, or The Winner Takes It All.
I thought they were going to go with The Winner Takes It All, just because I keep getting confused. I keep saying, Mamma Mia, I Dreamed a Dream. You know what I mean? It's a very different show.
I made notes of who stood out to me in this number, but I thought everyone was pretty great. I've written Maisie, I've written Leah, I've written... Owen kept getting comedy moments. They gave Owen, a lot of character bits, which... I like about him. There's a lot of personality coming.
He seems very cheeky.
Yes, but then I worry, because in previous seasons, with someone like, she was Jess Robinson at the time, but Jessica Daly, she's fantastic, but she was very, shticky, which wasn't necessarily right for Dorothy, because they wanted someone a little bit more earnest, and there were judges' comments to that effect. She was very, young Barbara funny girlish.
Yeah, but I do think with that, you kind of just want to stand out any kind of way.
It's true.
So, if you're getting those comedy bits, everyone can do those comedy bits. It's I'll take them.
So then we went to their little breakfast moment, and everyone's gutted about losing Darcy from the week before. This is now, 2 weeks back. You remember him?
I remember Darcy.
Yeah.
He was great. And I think a lot of these decisions are just really hard because it's literally due to the judge's preference, because you could argue for a number of people going. So I think I was surprised that he left because I wasn't expecting that.
Hopefully he goes on to very exciting things.
I'm sure most of these contestants will get a boost from this, and
that's the dream. That's the hope. We were saying just about any of the boys could walk into the choir of man.
Oh, for sure.
Easy.
For sure.
Easy. But then we have another week to get on with. My favourite thing about this entire sequence was that Stevie went back after they were called to the challenge and grabbed a bunch of breakfast items. If that is not me at a Disneyland Paris buffet smuggling multiple pastries and telling Aaron to run while the staff look at me like, you're allowed to carry things out of the restaurant.
We're not going to chase you out. But I thought it was just quite funny. It's like, let the girl eat.
Yeah.
He's starving there.
It's like, is that a comedy moment, or are they literally just...
like, you cannot eat now. It's like, we were given 10 minutes.
Do you think it's real breakfast? Is she just like...
It's like, guys... It's the most important point of the day.
It is. But we found out that this was chemistry week, and for the first time they are pairing up the Sophies and Skys to do challenges and a main performance together. And we've been saying this is what we've been waiting for, because it's great to see them as individuals, but even the best performer, if they don't work with the other one, then you're still not going to get the part. I mean, probably a lot of like great people have auditioned for many roles in the West End, but the chemistry read with the other person didn't work.
Or the chemistry didn't work and they still got cast anyway.
Or the chemistry didn't work and they still got... Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that's a great example. Yeah, but that does
But it's very important.
That underlines the point about chemistry being important, because there are shows where it's like the talent is there but the chemistry is not.
And I think it's really hard to achieve. Like, I'm like, poking fun, but like those were two talented individuals, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's something you can force either, which makes this a really big challenge for them, because they can be talented performers, and we saw a lot of them really pushing this week and really wanting to get there, but you can't force a relationship.
And I think sometimes though it's the mindset. I know you might say you can't force it, but I think you just have to have because a lot of them were in their head, you know what I mean? I think and that's before you even get to performing with.
Too intense about it, do you think? Just like too like professional and like trying to force it, and if they just like relaxed.
I think that was partly it, you know what I mean? But it's such a high pressure situation. It's hard to cope with that.
Yeah. On a mountainside.
It's
like a high pressure situation in very relaxing conditions.
Yeah.
I enjoy Tobias in the little talking heads directing his own scene transitions.
Yes, I mean, I actually DM'd him and I had to say, that was great. If you're going to take your moment. And I think he just said, I'm glad they used him, because what if they didn't? Just like let him go there, like, I guess. Just waving at the camera.
That's great. If anyone is watching this but hasn't watched the episode, he was suggesting to Cameron, he was doing like all of these things and telling them
a jazzy transition.
He can use like a one of those, and maybe I'll remember to put one in afterwards.
You should do that. Yeah.
Maybe I'll have completely forgotten, and we can all laugh about it in the comments. So they had coaching before the challenge, and they did like this little speed dating thing, bouncing around different tables. Again, not indicative of how it would actually be in the West End, but simulating a similar kind of pressure. I hate speed dating. Just the concept. I've never done it for actual dating, but like at school when they were like a speed dating version of this. I just
like colleges and stuff like that.
If you couldn't tell by these nearly hour-long recaps, I don't enjoy brevity.
Yeah, that's true.
I like a long sit down.
I did mention to Mickey, I was like, oh, so like I saw the latest episode of your recap. It's longer than the actual show, but that's fine.
People love content. People, they're edited down.
I know.
The filming is longer. So then let's talk about the actual scenes themselves. We had Owen and Stevie together, who need a couple name. Stowen.
You can do Stowen.
So they did the scene, and then we got a little bit of singing as well, because they were doing the scene leading into the "Don't go wasting your emotion." And we saw a clip of the film.
Yeah.
Now, Amanda Seyfried, lovely. Lovely. Dominic Cooper, beautiful man, talented actor, love him, big fan, loved him since the History Boys. Like, any of these boys already singing this song better than Dominic Cooper. I will say.
But I will say, his singing was better in the first one than the second. Like, I thought he...
I think I've erased that from my memory.
I thought he'd forgotten to sing in the second one. I was like...
I don't know that he remembered before the first one. That was like a... I think he's the Russell Crowe of... Or do you think Pierce Brosnan was worse?
I think we both know that.
Again, I thought Owen was a little campy, funny and charactery. One of the judges literally said, he's good. I've put that in quotation marks. So that was, which, you know, good feedback. Stevie I thought was a little rushed, aka every acting audition I've ever given in my life. And there was something on when they were singing on the word dear, where she did it so completely straight tone. And I feel like because she had that feedback a few episodes ago that she wasn't getting a pop sound.
Oh, she was...
I think she's now scared of vibrato.
Yeah.
I think they've terrified her away from musical theatre.
It's like...
She's like, how do I sound more pop? So just everything very straight tone.
It's different. It's difficult to... Because, I mean, that's the thing. It's musical theatre singing pop songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to get that balance. And
I mean, they had vocal coaching briefly before the chat, so maybe that was the feedback to do a straight tone.
That's the thing.
I
mean, that's probably what they're asking for.
Yeah.
But they could be but she could be going overboard with it. So
I mean, it's not like Maz Murray, who's currently playing Donna, has like a traditional pop sound. Like, there's a musical theatre gravitas and a theatricality there.
Goddess sound was what I was. Kissed by angels voice.
Then we had Esme and Marcellus.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is not a good couple name. That doesn't bode well for them as a pairing. Esmelis. It's not Mame.
You're just saying noise.
So Esmelis, she prompted him because they didn't have the most obvious initial chemistry. Mm-hmm. I thought Stevie and Owen, I immediately put, look, it's cute. I put a little test tube emoji next to them to indicate chemistry. Team Stowen, I thought I saw the chemistry for, I've already forgotten it, Esmelis. I didn't see the chemistry straight away. And she was like, should we go get a drink later? And I don't know if he thought she was flirting, but he was like,
father of two.
Yeah. He is a father of two. And he was not he didn't seem receptive to it in that moment. I don't know if it was just one of those like awkward miscommunication things, but she was like, we'll get a drink later. You know what I mean? He was like, wasn't picking up what she was putting down there. I thought she had a lovely read on the scene. I put vocally a little constricted. I can't qualify that because I can't remember it, but at the time,
I think that was the note she was given, that she was just a bit too nervous.
Yeah. And I mean, last week in the previous recap, I had put her at the top of the power ranking. I said that she was the one after that performance who seemed the most likely to maybe go on and win the thing. I think she's already shown a lot of strength so far. You know, you'd hate to see someone let the nerves get to them and go home for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Next we had Craig and Maisie. Do you want to come up with the couple name?
Crazy.
It's great.
You're just waiting for that. You're like, Sean, you can get this.
It's better than Meg. So Team Crazy within ISIE. I thought she had a lovely innocence. He was a little severe, a little acting-y. I thought of any of the combinations, they might have been a bit of a mismatch because she reads as one of the younger Sophies.
And he reads one of the oldest.
And he reads older. I don't think he is. He's not the oldest, we know that.
No.
I don't think he is necessarily that much older, but he reads older.
Yeah.
We were saying before, he could almost understudy one of the dads from the ensemble, rather than, I don't know, is it a beard thing? Maybe it's a beard thing.
Usually a beard thing.
Maybe it's a beard thing. As bearded men, we're here to...
It's usually a beard thing.
Yeah, I look 8 when this is gone, so that's what that does. We had, Leah and Zakeel. Zakeel?
Oh, okay. This one obviously was...
Lil. I'm still on...
You're just on the name. Let's get to the meat.
So what did you think of their scene and song together?
It was not great.
They were both trying really hard.
I think that was the thing. You could tell they were really trying, but it just was not happening.
It felt like two performers that I would really say, oh my gosh, they did a great job in an amateur show. It felt a bit like, and no, I've seen great amateur theatre and you've seen great amateur theatre, and I've done amateur theatre. I've done amateur theatre with great performers, and It just felt comparatively a little bit more amdram, just like the push that they were both doing without connecting with each other. It didn't feel natural. It felt very performative, but I think that's just because they didn't quite connect to each other. Was there a throwaway line from Leah about being LGBT and sort of struggling to connect to a male partner?
She was, and I didn't actually catch that. But much props to her.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's something you do have to think about, because I think she mentioned obviously that's not something she would have had experience with, or I mean, that's when you get your acting skills out.
Flashback to me in the last 5 years trying to connect to multiple women.
Kathy.
It's a Keel talking back to the judges.
Yeah. That's
talking back.
That's something you don't want to do.
No.
I mean, there's all for standing up for yourself and obviously just not being a pushover, which is cool, completely cool. But
and they brought it up later. They
remembered it.
They noticed that, yeah.
And also
they held that grudge real good.
These are really nice judges. They're they are trying to help you.
And the vibe of the show is also
exactly. It's not
very sweet, and they're friendly, and they go and hug them afterwards. It's not like the intimidating, we're going to sit on chairs over here and tell you that you don't have any
talent.
Yeah, it's not the old ones. It's a new, softer vibe, and so I think that plays a little more harshly.
Yeah.
So Team Crazy, Team Zachleel didn't get chemistry test tube emojis from me. The next ones did, though. We had Callum and Stephanie, and I thought they had chemistry. Stalum? That sounds medical.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to need to give you a Stalum right.
Not on camera, please. Caffany.
Is this why these videos are over an hour?
That's why this one will be, yeah. Comment below, help me out here. But Callum, the strongest actor.
By far.
Of the whole series. He makes such natural, compelling choices. When he starts singing, there is still that pop drawl. And you can have a pop sound.
Yeah.
My issue with it is it just feels artificial because his acting is so natural.
It's the indie
affectation.
Yep. But yeah, he does have that, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. But
it would be great in hold on, I've got it here. It would be great in the Choir of Man.
Oh, for sure.
Choir of Man when you're casting.
Yeah, I mean,
or a Once, something like that, where he's playing a singer, but you don't believe that he's singing his feelings. You think he's singing because it stops feeling natural.
But the thing is, it's he's a great singer.
Yeah.
Sounds great, but it doesn't connect with the material for me.
It's not bad, it's just wrong for this.
Yes.
And it doesn't, it feels comparatively unnatural to his acting.
I think that's the thing. I think that's my only one big issue with him. By far the strongest actor.
Yeah.
And if he can marry the material, if he can connect to the material in a way that's believable, on stage now.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Stephanie, on the other hand, who was his scene partner, and I think they did have chemistry, she was great in the song, perfect in the song, very Sophie-ish, but there was one line in the acting that I thought she had the wrong read on. It was when he was talking about his stag party and she said, "Don't go," and just the way she delivered it, I didn't think was quite right. It wasn't a sort of a playful don't go, or a suddenly concerned I'm actually having a breakdown and I need to talk to you about this, don't go, which is what it kind of plays as. In the scene, it was just a random throwaway haha, don't go, she's playing along, and I don't think that was quite the right read on what it is in that scene.
Yeah, I think that's easily correctable, you know what I mean? That's just an acting choice.
That's a director moment.
Yeah.
Then finally we can do a fun couple's name for this: Tobias and Desmonda.
Oh, what are we doing that?
Tabonda.
Tabonda. There you go. No.
Desmaias? No, that's one of
I think I hear you.
It's one of the priests from Jesus Christ Superstar. Tabonda then.
Tabonda.
Team Tabonda. Big chemistry bottle emojis.
Yeah.
They're so cute. They're very cute. We'll talk more about it later with their actual performance, which was a standout moment in the episode.
I do think that was the other read on that. Is the fact it was different from the other performers, where it was more sweet.
Yeah.
Rather than, not sexual, but
Well, I think when people hear chemistry, they're and it's
yeah. It was just a very sweet innocence.
Maybe people were pushing for the wrong thing because sweet really worked for these two.
It really did, yeah.
Yeah. They were super cute, and maybe a couple that, and I've thought this before with Mamma Mia, maybe they shouldn't be getting married. Honestly, maybe they are a little young.
It's like you're too young
to be getting married, rather than
Yeah.
trying to play the perfect idyllic romantic couple. I thought Desmonda, I've been very critical about her acting on here. I thought that was a big improvement for this. I thought she was showing improvement, and that's really the only thing she needs to address because the voice is there.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the voice is undeniable. But I think it's also just the situations. Some people just do not thrive in a lot of these acting challenges. They're like, let's do this on camera. You're acting against Samantha Barks. Go.
We've heard. I think someone told me in a previous comment on here they have very little time to prepare and they're expected to get off book in a very short amount of time.
You have 10 minutes. Some people, a lot of obviously actors learn lines in various different speeds.
It's not about memory. I could maybe get off book in 10 minutes. You couldn't.
Absolutely not.
That's why you'll never be Sophie under these circumstances.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, and I thought the other thing with her is sometimes I feel as though she's just singing and there's not she's emoting through song, if not necessarily acting with subtlety through song. But in this challenge, she was having fun through song. And for someone who's very I'm going to stand here and sing the most beautiful, rapturous thing you've ever heard, for her to be able to have fun, I thought was a big deal. And I liked it. It was very nice. Tobias had a great challenge. This was a great challenge for him because they were super cute together. He had a great read on the scene. He had that moment before where he was practicing the singing, and Alan Carr was like, "Who's that singing over there?" And they were like, "It's Tobias." And he was like, "Sounds good."
I do think
foreshadowing success.
I think this was his strongest he's been vocally so far.
Yeah.
I think
great week for him.
Yeah.
Then came the welcome news. I think that the eliminations wouldn't necessarily be of a whole couple.
Yeah, I think that would have been unfair because obviously people are going to just perform differently, even if they are in couples, don't we?
Yeah, and they didn't get to choose the couples they were with. They didn't get to choose their pairings. No. So again, you don't want to see someone going home and losing this opportunity for the wrong reasons. Yes. So then we go into the vocal performances then. Again, starting with Team Esmelis. There was the briefest mention of him having played Simba. We finally acknowledged that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a Simba. He was a Simba in the West End.
That's not some small part.
No, I don't know if he was understudied it or was a principal. I think I found out before and have forgotten now. But we've been saying they haven't really been acknowledging the credits that a few of them have.
I do think, the whole, I know some people wanted this show to be for a lot of untrained people and stuff like that. I just don't think that's realistic.
Yeah.
Because, and I obviously I have no issue with untrained people getting a chance, you know what I mean? But you're going to be leading a West End show for 8 shows a week. You need to know.
It's lovely to catapult someone to fame, and we've seen that happen on some of these previous seasons, on some of these other shows. But at the same time, there are so many really talented graduates who are out of work, who need this platform. And if this show can turn trained, enthusiastic young performers into names, then that's a win for everyone in the industry.
I think that's the thing. I think there's a misconception just because you're trained that you're going to have immediate success.
Yeah, they're not gods. The whole thing of they're trained. They could. It's like the whole Leighton Williams controversy on Strictly Come Dancing right now.
I don't think they started on that.
He's danced on a stage before, therefore he can do all ballroom and Latin.
And half of those contestants on Dancing, what was it? I was going to say Dancing on Stars. That's not. But they're trained. They've been in West End shows. They've done dancing, but obviously that's a very different situation where you're dancing with a partner. It's a completely different style.
But we've segued.
Sidetrack.
I wrote this down because this was funny. So we'd mentioned before that Marcellus didn't seem receptive to having a friendly drink to improve their chemistry. He made a joke in the Talking Heads about being disappointed when he found out she had a boyfriend, and I'm like, you are a father of 2.
Maybe you want to be a father of 3.
So she did a great riff.
I think this was the thing where she was trying to catch his eye for most of the performance.
Yeah,
and he was doing his thing.
It was a better song for him than her as well.
For sure, because I think this is first week where he hadn't had any vocal issues. And I thought Esme sounded great as well.
I thought she sounded great. The judges observed that this was maybe sitting better for him.
I think this is the kind of thing with the song choices as well. It's really hard. I mean, I think the song choices have been all over the place, actually.
But also from a music standpoint, the key of any particular song is always going to favour one of those performers a little bit more. You either have a guy who's pushed really down into a low range, or the same thing happening for the girls, basically. I think it sat in a better place, and tonally was just a better fit for him. I think it was more in his wheelhouse, and she was grooving along. But I didn't think she was struggling with it as much as the judges seemed to comment on.
I don't. I think they were just trying to zone in on the whole chemistry thing.
Yeah. Now, for all of these couples, as well as coming up with a couple name, you'll be pleased to know I have sort of summarised what they seemed like with their chemistry to me. And for these two, I wrote friendly work colleagues.
Friendly work colleagues, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that.
They were like at the Christmas party karaoke together, but absolutely nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a little bit flirty. It's very professional.
Yeah. Even if they're drunk, no.
Yeah, no. It's like 3 glasses of wine in, there is a wall there. Yeah. And, like, lines will not be crossed. So, you know, again, they did a good professional job. I wasn't feeling...
It was good performance, but I again, it's not a song that I can really get excited about, to be fair.
Yeah. Next up, Team Crazy, Craig and Maisie. I thought he was in his vocal element. They were doing Grease. You're the one that I want. I thought he was really in his element here.
Yeah, I think this was definitely stronger for him. Maisie, I thought she sounded lovely.
I wrote vocally sounding pretty, but that's not what the judges wanted.
Yeah.
They didn't want Sandra Dee, they wanted Sandy.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy.
End of the movie, because she's given like pretty sounding and charming, heartfelt performances before, and I think they wanted just a little bit more fire and determination.
A bit more oomph.
A little bit more oomph.
And I think you could have done that with that song, but if you're reading into the chemistry thing, they were quite separate for most of the performance. There wasn't a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
That I remember.
Yeah.
And I know that's part of the song as well, but like I think maybe that was a directorial choice that they could have
maybe. But I think great performers could still make that work.
That's true.
This is the thing. There was an interesting sort of an imbalance, not just with maybe their playing ages, but with the experience levels, because Maisie is one of the less experienced contestants among the girls, and Craig has done some shows. You know, he's done Bat Out of Hell. You could hear that in his performance with this. He was giving you this screaming tenor high rock notes. I enjoy Stevie and Stephanie dancing along in the little behind the scenes camera. It's always Stevie dancing to other people. Would you not get tired? Well, she had a ballad this week, so she's like...
And she ate lunch.
She
ate breakfast.
That's what happens when you go back for second breakfast.
Guys.
That's the energy it gives you. I was noticing with the judges' comments, they're really building them this week. Like, they've been just saying, like, oh, you sound really nice, and just very complimentary in previous weeks, so sort of criticising little things. They're giving everyone really constructive, like, here is what you need, here is what you're not quite delivering on. We've reached a point now where they know them. Yeah. And now they're building a little bit.
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of things that they need to deliver a show, or that could easily get them out. I think we all know they're all talented individuals. You know, I mean, they're there for a reason, but I think it's the time where you really have to show up and deliver what they're telling you they want to see. Yeah. But like I said, it is constructive, which I like. You know, what I mean, I know some people.
Yeah, it's not mean-spirited. I think they've occasionally been a little unduly harsh for a bit of a narrative, like, oh, you struggled in the challenge, and now you're coming out of your shell a bit here. But no, for the most part, I agree with that. In terms of how they felt to me as a couple, I thought they were like different members of a bridal party who hadn't met previously, but end up like walking together.
It's the best man and the maid of honor,
and like other people look at them and think together. They should date, but they personally aren't into it.
They're like, I have a boyfriend back home.
Yeah. So that's where I thought they stood. Then we had Desmonda and Tobias. Team Tabonda. I'm sad that they're in different pairings next week. If this is a newsflash to anyone, next week we've already seen preview pictures, because I'm filming this so late in the week, and they're in different pairings. So Team Tabonda, unless they both go on to win, I'm already sad that nickname has a shelf life.
Yeah, I think for me this was the strongest performance of the week.
They were so cute. It was a great performance.
You're gonna put them in Frozen right now. You know what I mean? Like,
they could go straight into it. They could walk into Frozen.
They and obviously it was special for Samantha because she's in the show. So obviously she was looking out for, like, if this is shit, I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
But no, they were so strong. I think when you compare it to the other performances, it was on another level.
It was.
Vocally,
it really was.
acting, chemistry.
Lots of chemistry. Big chemistry bottle emojis.
And also, I think, again, that played into the sweetness factor. It wasn't, it wasn't forced either.
It wasn't sexy love is an open door.
It wasn't. And I don't think love is an open door is sexy.
It's not. They got the tone. But are we surprised? Because Desmonda gets Disney. We know this.
We do.
She's touring right now in Aladdin. She's literally a Disney princess.
She is a Disney princess.
As we speak, playing Princess Jasmine. So this was a great fit for her. He did a great job as well. Like you said.
This was definitely his strongest week.
Oh, yeah.
He sounded fantastic.
He did.
And, yeah, it really played into their strengths.
Like you said, Samantha Barks knows this song. And she's probably sick of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We're lucky she didn't run off halfway through to, like, try and tear a wig off of her head.
No, just muscle memory.
At this point in the show, she'd be, like, putting on her tearaway gloves. And Samantha loved it.
Absolutely loved it. And I think if you're going to get the seals of approval, that's the one you want.
Yeah. Elsa liked it, you guys.
Elsa liked it. I think Elsa loved it.
Yeah. The final thing here I have written is what they read to me as a couple. And they, I thought, were a brand new couple. It's their first Valentine's Day and you kind of hate them.
Yeah. I'm there.
Because they are super cute. Next, Team Zakliel.
Now this was a pleasant surprise.
This was a step up from the challenge. And I thought it was the kind of a song, they're not always dealt a great hand with these songs. Week 1, I don't think she was. She had Somebody to Love. And I don't think that made as much sense as some of the other song choices because they were like, we don't really see Sophie in this.
And you're like, well, because
you're not giving a Sophie song.
You're not giving her Sophie.
You're saying Scaramouche. But for this one, I thought it was material that benefited both of them.
And I do think it was material that was very different to what was on display that night. I mean, excluding the final performance. But this was more emotional. It wasn't... And it was played a lot more real.
Yeah.
And they weren't even... for most of the performance, they weren't obviously even performing to each other. It was like...
but you felt the weight of it.
Yeah,
you absolutely felt it.
And then when they came together, it was palpable. It was really palpable.
Yeah.
And I really applaud them for that because I know, obviously, that they had trouble in the beginning challenge. And I really thought they worked... They must have... Well, they worked really hard on it. And we, like you say, obviously, you can't really fake it, but they got out of their own way, I felt. And especially with Leah.
I wrote Leah is a star. That was the first comment I wrote. She is a star. And I don't know if this is the role. I don't think this is the role purely because I think her voice is more interesting to me than a Sophie in Mamma Mia. There's like a sweetness and maybe even a thinness to like the Sophie quality because she has this youthful sound.
Yeah.
Compared with the Donna in the show, Sophie has to sound younger and bright and hopeful. Leah's voice is a lot richer and deeper in tone than a Sophie might sound. So she'd be a really exciting Sophie, but I think she could do something even more fun.
I know her as a Nancy, thinking about it. I literally, it came to me, I was like, I would love to hear her sing.
A little bit of As Long As He Needs Me.
Please.
This gave the judges a lot to think about, I think, because these two were probably on the chopping block after that scene, and I think this changed things.
It did, and I think it was good for Sakil as well.
They acknowledged he did not have the strongest voice.
But I don't think that is...
I think he's got a great voice, but among that bunch, he doesn't have the same kind of traditional musical theatre, like tenor power that some of the others have.
But again, I don't think that's a prerequisite for Sky. I think it's more... It's the whole package, I think.
I thought this one felt like... I wrote that it felt like a complicated late-stage relationship, but that that was probably a product of the song that they were singing.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably like... I could see them as a couple, but I don't think they're friends like the person that they're with.
Yeah. I definitely think it definitely ticked all the boxes for what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Then we get to Callum and Stephanie, whose couple name eludes me still. Comment below. Callum part of this ongoing narrative about he doesn't like musical theatre or he doesn't know musical theatre.
I mean...
And he hasn't seen The Greatest Showman. Now everyone has seen The Greatest Showman. That's not an exclusive musical theatre thing.
No.
Like, if he hasn't seen The Legally Blonde pro shot, that's a musical theatre thing.
Yes.
And I also have questions. But everyone's seen The Greatest Showman.
I mean, that was... He's like, I've got a gun, guys. Here's my feet.
And they joke about it, but he is dead to me now, honestly.
I do think, I mean, it was such a schoolboy error. When they're asking him, it's like, do you like musical theatre? Like, you are in a musical theatre show.
You can't keep making the same mistake.
Or like, I haven't had a chance to like look at you. Make the time.
Now, they filmed them sitting down and watching the film together on a tablet. I refuse to believe they watched that whole film for like 2 hours on a tablet.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. I've been when Ellie's been on here as a guest, the lovely Ellie Talks Theatre, she's been a little conspiratorial.
It's like, wow.
This is my tinfoil hat moment. They did not watch that whole film on a tablet.
No, for God's sake.
I refuse to believe. But they watched like enough for the context of their scene.
Yeah.
I wrote, he seemed a little overwhelmed. He was out of tune at the beginning.
As they pointed out. And she, I thought, had the harder job here because they had... In the original, it's mostly Zac Efron who gets the solo lines. Yeah.
In the first verse. And they had redistributed it a bit, so she had something... she had a down the octave low moment, and I thought this is a really challenging bit for her to sing because it's very low. Did he say he didn't know he was out of tune?
Yeah.
He said he didn't know he was out of tune, which again, that's an issue.
Well, I don't think it's that. I just think it's more like they obviously noticed an issue. You just kind of take it on the chin. You know, like
it's that, but I think you have to not only have like
I suppose you should have some
not
self-awareness.
only good throat, but you got to have good ears.
Yeah.
Because if things can go wrong in a West End show.
Yeah, like vocals aren't always perfect, and that's because they are human, and like it happens. You know what I mean? But I think he saved it.
Yeah, I think saying you didn't know you're out of tune was the wrong answer to that question.
I think I think he wasn't giving the right answers at all.
Once again, Jessie Ware was trying to throw him a bone with this musical theatre thing. He is still giving the wrong answers.
And then I think she got genuinely annoyed because she was like, "Come on, I'm throwing you the easiest bone, and you should." And also, I think he should have done the homework. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard.
Stephanie, by comparison, you know, that sort of showed her in a more positive light, and I thought she did a great job.
Yeah.
I thought they felt like a couple that got together as kids and will break up when one of them goes to uni.
Yeah.
Like, within Freshers Week. It's over. There is a time that they're going to like cry and say that it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
And then it's absolutely
going
to happen instantly. Just, yeah. Finally, first in the challenge, last in the performances, Team Stowen.
I think this was, again, I thought this was really hard to mess up because they had such a strong song.
Well, Stevie needed to step up here after the last week that she had.
Yes.
Where she was nearly sent home.
Yeah. And
Maddie ended up being sent home. She needed to emerge here. Do you think she did?
I think she did.
Yeah.
I think it was apart from Desmonda and Tobias, this was probably as strong as them in a different way, obviously with the dramatic singing. Vocally, it was fantastic. Like I said, their acting with each other and chemistry was really strong.
Yeah.
And you really felt it. And like I said, I suppose I'm being a bit cavalier with it, but like it's such an emotional song, like and I think it's quite easy as a performer to connect to something that rich in emotion.
Yeah.
But it was also
shallow. They were shallow. They were performing
shallow.
If we haven't said that, which was Samantha Barks' first wedding dance song, and so she cried.
And they made her cry.
Yeah.
For all the right reasons.
Yeah.
I think there was just some little moments, the acting moments in it, which was just really nice. I think when he grabbed her, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, and it was nice to see him doing something with more sincerity because he's been doing these like goofy, character-y moments. They were also the closest offstage, I think. We saw a lot of scenes.
They were so sweet together.
Of them being friends. I thought, couple-wise, get ready for it, I thought they were a couple you invite round for like a game night who are like...
oh, so happy, and then destroy you.
Who are like really competitive together, and if they ever broke up, they would remain close friends.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I thought it was the best vocal from both of them so far.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about how I felt when the judges in their feedback were attributing Stevie's strength to her pairing with Owen. They were like, Stevie, you were better this week. Possibly, I don't know if they said something to the effect of like, Owen brought that out of you or like helped you to...
I mean, I agree with that in some way because I think they both fed off each other.
Yeah,
brilliantly.
like good scene partners. But I think she was also...
She held
She was
her
also
own.
great, yeah.
She definitely held her own.
So then it came to the judges' deliberations, and we had a bottom two.
Yeah.
Of each for the first time, and we've been able to infer from their comments previously who else was in contention for going home, but this time they really stated it, which I suppose is a device to light a fire under those people who knew that they were close to leaving. Going into the next week, they will know that they were this close to a Jet 2 flight back to the UK. Basically, it's my one obligatory Jet 2 reference for the... Again, they're not sponsoring these. They don't know who I am. As predicted, I wrote all of these names down, and they did end up being the people in the bottom two. They had Zakil and Callum, which I think were the only boys who were really bottom two material.
I just agree.
Oh, who else were you expecting to see there?
I think Craig.
Oh, you think Craig could have gone into the bottom two?
I think, and I'm not saying it wasn't a good performance. I was just saying I think comparatively to Zakil's improvement,
Sure.
I thought that was a stronger performance. I mean, you could argue vocally it wasn't.
I think Craig on paper is very strong, but I'm not seeing Sky is still my issue. I could more readily see Zakil giving a take on Sky than I could Craig. I think Zakil, it was not necessarily his vocal performance from the song. I think it was the acting in the challenge and maybe the acting up after the challenge.
I do think his comments were held against him.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you need to rein yourself in if it's that kind of thing, because it could be detrimental to you, you know what I mean?
Gotta be very careful on reality television. You don't know what makes the edit.
Well, yeah, and
It's not always Tobias doing this with his hands.
But I do think that he was in the bottom predominantly because of that.
Interesting.
And that you could say that was held against him because if you're in a professional situation, because it's a job, you can't really be doing that.
Yeah. Over to the girls, and the bottom two was Maisie and Esme. And I think the way they were filming this, there was a suggestion that if there was going to be a third person at the bottom, it would have been Leah. And I think she was the stronger of the two of them, of Leah, of Team Zakil, in that vocal performance, and that brought her through. But it still would have been the acting challenge from the beginning that would have put her in that position. Because Esme also didn't do a bad job.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and it's kind of splitting hairs with a lot of things. It is coming down to it's not little things, but like it is coming down to just these little moments, even when it's not the performance at the end.
Yeah.
They're still counting.
And Maisie also didn't do a bad job. It's not like you made a mistake or they'd stumbled. It's we're starting to see people go home because they haven't shown enough like breadth and variety. I think from Maisie there's something that has yet to emerge from her that they wanted to see,
because she's improved every week.
Yes.
But I think it just wasn't enough. She hadn't shown them enough so far.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why she was in the bottom.
So the people we ended up losing then were Maisie and Callum. The writing was on the wall for Callum at this point.
I think that was the right decision. Again, he is such a strong actor. I think it was so
even if he's not
naturalistic.
singing in whatever he goes into, I hope he gets stage acting work, because
I would be surprised if he didn't.
He's really great. He was the strongest actor we've seen of the whole series, and that has to count for something.
Yeah.
With Maisie, something very lovely transpired after the episode.
I was so happy about this.
Yeah, because she made a post on social media thanking Judy Kramer and David Grinrod, who was the casting guru who has been quietly behind the scenes in this show and was involved in all of those other ones back in the day, which is kind of the stamp of quality of this, is that he has been a part of that process. But Judy Kramer, I believe, gifted her a scholarship to LSMT, to the London School of Musical Theatre, which is amazing.
And literally, that will do her the world of good.
Yeah.
And I think she'll come out there and we'll see her in a sooner rather than later.
But how lovely that Judy did that first of all.
Yeah.
But also, like, has enough enthusiasm and passion about their careers to invest in them as performers. Give her that opportunity.
It was a really lovely thing.
Yeah.
And bravo to all.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were hoping that we would see people coming out of this series getting a boost, and that's a huge one right there.
But I think it's time that we talk about the fashion, because that's obviously the most important thing in a musical theatre competition show. I'm Ellie, and this is your fashion recap. So, can we first off, I normally just talk about the main stage looks in this segment, but can we get a shout out for the blue and white colour scheme in the opening song? Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. My favourite of these being Maisie's, like, sleeveless dress that had, like, the pattern that was very similar to, like, your nan's plates. You know, your nan's china plates, the ones that you're not allowed to touch. You know, the special cutlery. Jessie's referee look in the workshop was the campest thing I've ever seen. And I love a camp look. Out of the judges, I'm going to give it to Alan Carr. Alan Carr looked really good in that purple suit. I love a little bit of purple. Jessie was close. Jessie was close with, like, the ruffles. The ruffle dress. Gorgeous. This week was all about the chemistry between people. I feel like it's only fair if I judge them in pairs. I think my favourite looks of the night. For the boys, I think Marcellus looked amazing. His look and Esme's look, like the retro-inspired ones, were great. Very 80s. For the girls, now, Desmonda had one of my favourite looks of the night. The white and turquoise look. I think their colour scheme was one of the most striking. I love a turquoise. A turquoise look, mwah, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It's iconic. But you're going to see in a minute that it was brought down slightly by the pairing. But my other favourite of the week was Esme. I love a button-up, tied-up shirt. It looks gorgeous. It looks stunning. I look great in it. And so if someone else is wearing it and looks great in it, I'm instantly going to give them a point. So I think the best pair of the week, fashion-wise, was Esme and Marcellus. They got the theme. They matched. They looked fantastic together. And I love a bit of the 80s. The reason that Desmonda's pair couldn't get as high is because I wasn't a massive fan of Tobias's look. He's always in, like, a vest and then a shirt over the top. I mean, most of the boys are just wearing button-up shirts. Can we get some more variety in the boys' looks, please? Thank you. It makes this segment more interesting. I feel like my least favourite for the boys were Craig and Callum. I feel like these looks... For Craig... I just think wearing all black doesn't carry as well on camera. And this is something that Stephanie and Callum also suffered with their looks of the night. I don't think it pops on camera as much. And because of that, especially for Craig in the Grease number, with all of the backup dancers who had the pink shirts, the backup dancers stood out more than Craig. Stephanie's look was cute, and so was Stevie's, but they were quite simple. I feel like the girls really looked good tonight. It was so hard to pick a girl who had, like, the weakest outfit, because they were all gorgeous. They all looked stunning. This is probably, like, the most fashionable week.
So then, like, review and analysis, big picture, how are you finding the series so far? Because it's not been without its criticisms and its comparisons to those old ones back in the day.
I know a lot of people don't like I think they think it's a softy approach, or they wanted, like, the main auditions. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see...
You were with us when we rewatched some of the Over the Rainbow initial episodes
and
a few weeks ago.
It is horrible. I don't want to see people's dreams, like, dashed or something like that, or for laughs.
The Charlotte Church tap on the shoulder while you're singing Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, that is traumatizing. They must be...
And some of those judges' comments were a lot more withering.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a personality,
yeah,
you have no star quality.
And also, I know the industry is tough and it's hard. And it doesn't need to be that way a lot of the time either. I had recently actors talk to me about the casting process, how it's still not great for a lot of them. And I don't want that to be the norm. You know what I mean? We need to improve that, and I think this program showing it can be done in a nicer, kinder way, because these are all talented people. You know what I mean? They all have talent. but it's, it's what they're looking for. And some actors just aren't right for some shows. Like that's the name of the game. But you don't need to be a ticket pair.
It's a really smart observation. Thank you very much. So let's talk about power rankings and where everyone's kind of sitting, given the last few weeks, but also as a result of this week's. So if we look at the Skys, first of all, Callum is in the last position because being eliminated from the competition does put you at a disadvantage.
It does. I'm not sure how he's coming back from that.
And then by virtue of him being in the bottom two alongside him, Zakil is the next one up. He's also had feedback to say he is not the strongest vocalist. And I don't think...
So that will work against him.
That will work against him, and I don't think it's a situation like Callum's was where he is a really, really, really strong actor that balances that. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what he does.
He's also a very young performer as well, so you're going to be up against people who have more experience as well. Yeah.
Then we can quibble about the way round that these two might go. Maybe I've even talked myself out of this. Craig and Marcellus in the next two slots. Marcellus had a stronger week this week than last.
I think it's quite interesting to see those two because, like you said, Craig is someone who is younger but reads older, and you have Marcellus who is older but reads a lot younger.
Yeah.
And I think if you're looking at those two, who you could make a case of they're pretty evenly matched, I would say Marcellus is in the stronger position.
It'll be very interesting to see who they're paired up with next week.
Yes.
And whether... I would like an Esme Craig pairing. Because I don't think she reads older necessarily. I just think she's got a professionalism about her that I would be interested to see alongside...
Another pro.
Craig. Yeah. Then at the top two, I have Owen sitting in second place. Just because I think he's still really great and delivering... I don't know if vocally and character-wise occasionally it's just falling a little south of Sky for me on occasion. Some of the stuff that he's doing, like in that opening number, and just on occasion I'm seeing a great performer. In that scene with Stevie, he was a little campy, just the littlest bit, which is not a bad thing for a lot of roles, but it was not quite hitting Sky for me in the same way that Tobias is. Tobias is still in the number one slot for me.
I do think, and I've kind of thought from the first episode, Tobias is probably the one to beat.
I said it on here. Tobias was number one.
It just seems right in his wheelhouse, and I think with this week being his strong week, he had the tone right, he had the vocals, and he had the comedy.
If he doesn't make it to the final, it will take some sort of a cracking under the pressure mistake. But I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's doing everything right.
Yeah.
Over to the girls now. So obviously Maisie was eliminated, and Esme was alongside her in the bottom two. So I feel like I have to put her in the penultimate slot on the power ranking, because that's going to be a thing in next week's episode. They're going to talk about that. It's going to be like you were in the bottom two, you were this close to going. You have to prove something now, which is crazy because last week I had her at the top.
But it's one of those things. But the thing is, I think it's a lot closer with the girls.
Yeah.
And I think Esme and Leah are probably gonna be the ones who are gonna have the problem next week.
Leah is the one next up for me.
But I think that, and again, I don't think this. Even if they have great performances, I think they're literally just gonna go back to, we're not feeling Sophie.
And this is the thing,
which is really tough because it's like, and I mean, I think I kind of have a problem with that because obviously they have, you have Esme who said she's had problems with being cast in things and stuff because she's a taller actor, which is an actual issue in the industry, which is...
We can joke about it, and I called her Tall Sophie on this before, but it is a problem. Also...
Which is so annoying.
Fun behind-the-scenes fact, you weren't at this, but Erin and I went to see Treason at Alexandra Palace Theatre, and a bunch of them were there. We've been to a few things recently where some of these contestants have been there because they're now, being sent to things by PR teams, and she's taller than me.
I mean, you're taller than me. But I'm sure.
Are you saying I'm not tall?
You're not that tall.
Wow. No, I think I'm very average height. I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
And Leah obviously being the only
considering plus size contestant. It's one of those things where I it's a little frustrating because I'd love to see a plus size Sophie.
Yeah.
There's literally no reason why Sophie couldn't be plus size.
The thing that's stopping me seeing Leah as Sophie is the vocal tone.
It's the rock voice. I feel
nothing
she
to do
has
with her image or her size or anything.
I know I think that's the frustrating thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously, but I think that's them reverting to type as well, though.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think that's frustrating to me because they're like, oh, we're expanding the search. We're looking for something a bit different.
You think they need to broaden their perspective on what Sophie could be?
Yes.
Then we get to our top 3, so our top half of this power ranking. I put Stevie in the 3rd place. Now, she had a great week.
Yeah.
She probably had a better week than Stephanie did. I think where they came from in previous weeks, Stevie still has more to prove, and they were like beginning to have a little bit more faith in her that she could be Sophie, but I don't know if the judges are all the way sold on it. Like, there are comments that they made about her being stronger alongside Owen. She's going to be with a different partner next week. If she can replicate that success, then that's coming from her.
Yeah.
I put Stephanie in the slot above that. I think she started the competition really strong.
Yeah.
And then she had that week where she was doing What a Feeling from Flashdance.
That was a bad choice.
Dancing around, and she had a lot to deal with in that song.
I love that song, and I'm not a fan of the musical.
I want her now to have a week where she has a great Sky opposite her.
Yes.
Because I think she couldn't really deliver in the way that she wanted to this week. And again, she was framed well opposite Callum because they gave her good feedback alongside criticisms of him. But I want to see Stephanie back at the full force of her powers, giving us the strength that we saw in that initial episode.
Yeah.
And then Desmonda this week is in the top slot. Now, from what we've been saying, and not just because she's like the only Asian contestant on the show, this would be a different Sophie in many ways, I think.
It's one of those things where I think, why not? Why is it taken so long? But I do think, I mean, full disclosure, I'm already a Desmonda.
You're a Desmonda stan.
I'm a Desmonda stan. I knew her before this competition. She is a stunning performer, in my opinion. And she just has the voice. And I think if you're comparing vocally to the rest of the girls, she just kind of smashes out of the water a lot of the time. But it's tough because, like you said, is that Sophie material there? Because she did so well with the Disney with the Disney song, and she's currently a Disney princess. Is that more to her strength?
Again, I think for her it's going to be a different style of song. Next week, we've seen her do Big Ballad, we've seen her do Disney. Both of these things are in her wheelhouse, and we knew this already.
Yes.
Something a little closer to... I mean, we heard her do that snippet of Lay All Your Love on Me, which still sounded great. I have every confidence she will sound great in a different type of song.
Yeah.
But she hasn't had those kind of same, up-tempo, kind of poppy numbers that we've seen some of the others do.
I think that is the wild card. It's just because the song choice has been all over the place for me.
They have.
And I do think they've helped some contestants and they've hindered some of the others. So I think they kind of are at the mercy of the song choices.
It's something we always observed back in the old days.
Yeah.
For those shows as well.
Some of these were god awful.
Oh yeah. But to see what songs they'll be singing next week, to see who they'll be paired with next. I mean, I can tell you now who they'll be paired with next week as we glimpse.
Are we gonna do a little? Yeah,
into the future.
Do a little spoiler.
Oh, I'm getting my wish. There you go. Esme and Craig are going to be together.
Do they say what song they're singing?
They do not, but it looks bad. They're not wearing shoes, so it's a ballad.
There's no dancing in the song.
That's what that means.
It's lyrical.
It's lyrical. These two are dancing. We have Tobias and Stevie.
That's a great pairing, though.
That is a great pairing. Stephanie's with Owen. That's again, it's Team Stowen, but a different st.
Oh yeah.
In the Stowen. So they're kind of getting what I want from her. Zakil is with Desmonda.
Now that is an interesting pairing.
That's a challenge for him to rise to, I think. Otherwise, he's going to get shown up a little bit, maybe.
Vocally, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and they seem to be dancing, but it's still not like poppy rocky dancing. Her dress has got butterflies on.
It's cute.
So I think it's another charming number. This is giving me some kind of disco or something because there's a jumpsuit
That's
involved.
a jumpsuit. I'm digging that.
Leah and Marcellus. That's what we have to look forward to next week.
That's some interesting pairings.
They are interesting pairings. To find out how those performances go, you can tune in to Mamma Mia, I Have a Dream on ITV1 on Sunday from like 6:15. I've been watching it every week. How do I...
Is it 6:30 or 6:15?
I think it's 6:15.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. There will be another recap. It might not be coming on Monday, but it will be coming next week, in the week. So stay tuned to that. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't already. I'm sure you are, lovely people. And thank you, Sean, for joining me.
That's okay. Thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. You can go and follow Sean on the app formerly known as Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, at TheatreFan, at TheatreFanOfficial.
Yeah, if you
Sean
search TheatreFan, I'll pop up.
He'll appear. All of the most exciting West End news and the occasional bit of juicy rumour.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching this week's. Make sure to comment with your thoughts down below, and we will see you next time. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching. Have a stagey day. Subscribe!